The Breakfast Flakes podcast brought to you by the Blue Cat Bar and Grill, next to the Roadside Event Center in Huntley. The Blue Cat, it's where it's at.
528, Market Paul checking in. Weird Wednesday. Gorgeous day yesterday. A few more in front of us. High today 74, 72 tomorrow. Rain moving in this weekend. Played some golf yesterday, met some folks. Well, your partner must be happy with all this moisture coming in. Not even gonna mess with it. I had something suggested to me yesterday that you're gonna like a lot. You've been to our website, our Facebook page. You've seen all the articles we write, and don't like to do it. It's part of the job. Every food has been rated. Top 10 tacos in town, top 10 pizzas, top 10 salads, yada yada yada. So I'm driving home yesterday, and actually this was in my article yesterday. If a place is too crowded, a restaurant, I don't stop, even for a sandwich. I was in the right lane coming home in the Heights yesterday. Not a car in the parking lot at Jersey Mike's. So I pulled in. I walk in, 3 gals working, all of them, hi, how are you? How you doing? And they're busy making up some catering order, but they got my sandwich out. I get the Italian. Guy came in behind me. He got the Italian. Guy behind him got the Italian. And the gal that was ringing me up said, you ought to get this toasted sometime.
What?
I said, that is a great idea, because something Paul and I agree on, our favorite sub all time in Billings was the Quiznos toasted Italian. And I thought, you know what? I wouldn't want it today, but like on a colder day, a comfort food kind of day, a toasted Italian sounds pretty good.
I didn't know they toasted.
I didn't either.
Well, and then Mark says, well, let me propose a toast to toasted Jersey Mike subs.
I just happened to have a cooler in the pickup.
Right.
And I used my card I got last time I was in there for $5. Your next sub is free. So it was a free $5 sub, and it was lunch and dinner and breakfast this morning, and I still got a little left.
Well, there you go. Mm-hmm. I didn't know you could toast them there.
And I strongly suspect once their lease is up, that Subway that is in the Bottles and Shots building, I think that one's probably going to go away.
Do you?
I do. Well, we got another one just up by Holiday.
Yeah, and there's one in Kmart or Walmart.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
The one inside there. There's people that go in there because they offer the cheapest groceries and they can't afford to shop other places, go in there and get a $10 footlong while they save money on their groceries.
That's exactly right. See, I was making fun of myself this morning for becoming a grumpy old man, but there's 2 of us.
Well, that's not so much grumpy as it is just years. I lost a calf yesterday. I had a cow lay on one. God dang it. That just makes me madder than hell.
God, and you're having good weather this year, too.
Yeah, so. But, I'm doing great calving. That's only the second loss, and I'm well past 100 now, so. And the one had a sack on its face, so that was a birthing problem from a younger cow. But this one, she just laid on it. And because it had nursed, I could tell it had nursed, and because it had pooped and everything. But so she's getting a calf today.
Oh, how nice.
Yep, she's getting a calf. I got a twin. I've been bottle feeding here for the last couple weeks, just waiting for something to happen. And so she's getting a calf today, whether she knows it or not. And that calf will wear her out to where she'll just hold up the white flag and say, "You're mine."
Good.
Because that thing is, it just attacks you when you go out there with a bottle, and then even when it's done, it follows you and butts your legs and everything till you can get the hell out of the building, That poor cow doesn't know what it's about to hit her.
Like having a puppy.
Yeah, so he's going to get one today. I was trying to think, though, whether I wanted to bring the cow to the calf or take the calf to the cow. The problem is when you take the calves to the cows and they ride in the pickup, they tend not to be able to control it as well as dogs. And
that's right, folks. We'll put a little baby cow right in the front seat of the pickup.
We do.
That's right.
Yeah, I got pictures of them. But I might bring the cow to the calf, though. If it doesn't work out or something, I can give her a little bit of feed, and then she's off to a future date with Fuddruckers. Mm-hmm. We call that cash flow in the business.
Well, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after hearing about it yesterday, I checked my mail when I got home yesterday.
Your regular mail?
Yeah.
Like in the mailbox mail?
In the mailbox.
No way.
There's a bunch of stuff in there. Been about a week. But I wanted to see if I had my bonus tax bill.
Oh.
And do you know how many improvements I've done on my house in the last year?
Yes, I know.
Okay, none. But it's going to cost me an additional $243 this year to live there.
Well, it shouldn't, because the value is going down. You got a year older shingles.
Right,
and,
yeah.
And the only thing that's like brand new on your place is the mailbox. Because you only check it like 4 or 5 times a year. It hasn't even opened.
Not worn out. So
yeah.
Talked to a buddy. Now, granted, it's a bigger house house out in Briarwood. House is paid for, but between property tax and insurance, cost him $700 a month to live there. Talk to a guy who's got a bar here. There's one up $600 on top of what they're already paying.
That's nice. They can do that, isn't it?
Hey, Paul, you owe me $100.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
It would be nice,
And I just have to give it to you.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to put a lien on your place and you're in trouble.
Well, we talk about it all the time. That's an antiquated system, folks, and nobody wakes up. And those are the ones they can just automatically do without any input from you.
There should never be, at any point, a time where they can raise your taxes without a vote.
Remember the taxation without representation thing? Remember that? Remember the Boston Tea Party, all that kind of stuff? We went to war with Britain because of that. King would just decide, time to collect more. And that's what they do. So who decided that? Who, because you're allowed, counties are allowed to do that if they decide to do that. So who decided that? Was that our commissioners that did it? Was it the Department of Revenue? Who did it?
Department of Revenue, under the direction of the governor's budget office and Governor Gene Forte, is directing the county to levy extra mills they hold in reserve to generate additional revenue from property taxpayers in Montana.
Well, I'm going to have to jump him about that. And don't forget, coming up in the middle of the summer, we get another tax rebate back, the second half of our property tax rebate.
Saw a thing yesterday. You can, I don't know if you have to reapply, but they said in August is when it'll start.
Yeah.
I love this at the end of the announcement. Please remember that the local county employees and Department of Revenue employees did not play a role in this decision.
Yeah.
So people are going in and being all crabby with the people that are just, hey, the gals down there at the office and the courthouse, not their fault.
That's not their fault.
No.
They don't make the license plate rates.
No.
They don't do any of that. Very, 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 very bad timing for that to happen, as the school safety levy ballots will go out here any minute.
On top of just having everybody's estimated property value skyrocket 20 to 30% in the last evaluation.
Yeah. Bad. Well, and a lot of you folks, now you know what it's like being a farmer.
Yeah, kind of.
Because fertilizer goes up $300, $400, $500 a ton. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Do you want a crop or not?
Yeah.
Fuel goes up. Fuel went up again, Yes, I see gas is $3.62 now in Billings. Fuel goes up. What are you going to do? Food goes up. What are you going to do? Well, I can tell you can start voting for the right people. Yesterday, Nebraska lawmakers advanced a bill that will raise their state sales tax. They're going to raise their sales tax to 6.5%. Some local districts in their state have their own sales tax, so the sales tax in some Nebraska cities could be 8.5%. The bill is key to the governor's plan to slash the soaring property taxes that are out of hand. He's promised to call the lawmakers back for a special session if property tax relief efforts fail. There are only five states in the United States that do not have a sales tax.
Right.
Only 5 left. We're one of them. Statewide sales tax base rate is set in some states, and then other cities add their own. For instance, in Minnesota, they have a base rate of 6.875, but Minneapolis has their own on top of that, so it brings the total rate to a little over 9% in Minneapolis. The ones with the highest, Louisiana, 9.5, Tennessee 9.55, Arkansas 9.45, State of Washington 9.38, and Alabama 9.29, along with Montana, Delaware, Alaska, New Hampshire, and Oregon that do not have sales taxes.
Also in Oregon, you cannot pump your own gas. It's against the law.
In Oregon, you're not allowed to be a regular human being.
You can buy drugs. You just can't pump your own gas.
In the state of Montana, I would favor a sales tax if they eliminated property taxes.
Because obviously we can't trust you to put in a sales tax and not raise the other taxes. One of the other taxes needs to go away.
And only have the ability to raise it if 3/4 of the legislatures approved it. Because the way it works now, all you need is just one more yay than nay, and your property taxes go up every time a levy goes through. Only got to win by one vote.
Right.
One vote.
And everybody gets to vote.
And it's a rigged system. It's a rigged system to favor property tax advocates and people that survive on it. It's rigged. It's a rigged system. People don't own it, can vote on it, and people that do own property can't vote on it. In other other words, your business. You don't get a vote for your business, but your business is still taxed. Anybody who is taxed ought to get the vote.
Right.
We don't do it that way.
No, we don't.
Look at Exxon and look at the Cenex refinery and look at the Conoco refinery here and the millions that they pay. And folks, they don't even get one vote. Not one.
Not fair.
No. And then everybody else who's walking the streets of Montana Avenue, living in a tent, living in an apartment building somewhere, they all get to vote on it.
Yeah.
They all get to vote on it. Not only do they get to vote on it for that one property, but everybody in the household who is 18 years old gets to vote on it. You could have 4 people in your home: mom, dad, a son who's 20, and a girl who's 18 who's a senior, and they can all vote. They get 4 votes, and they're renting a condo. They get 4.
Great. And scream bloody murder when they get their rent raised.
It's just an antiquated, outdated, unfair system, period. Well, it unnecessarily affects the poor. No, it doesn't. Doesn't affect them at all because of the exemptions for sales taxes. Food is exempt.
Right.
Medicine is exempt. But when they go to Costco and I see them there on a Saturday and their carts are filled to the top, and besides the food, they have electric toothbrushes, the new Whirlwind Tornado fan to keep your house cool, all that kind of stuff, you pay. But, and they have that big committee getting together, and I haven't heard anything that's coming out of that committee yet. I'm going to see the governor and a couple other people here in a couple weeks, and I'm going to jump them about a few things. And they all put their pants on, folks, the same way you do. Don't be intimidated by these people. They work for you. They're public servants. We're paying them. You're their boss.
Well, that's why it's frustrating when you send an email or you call John Tester's office. He doesn't call you back.
No.
And you get, a patented response on an email, an auto reply.
But he doesn't work for us.
No, he doesn't.
He works for Chuck. That's where his butter comes from. That's where his bread is being buttered. Chuck, you do what we say, you follow along, and you're going to be a very happy individual. And so he's learned that. Taxes should never be this way. Government should have never been this big. Bipartisanship is the worst word that you can have in Congress. It needs to be thrown out. It's not supposed to be bipartisan. It's supposed to be ugly. It's supposed to be a battle. They aren't supposed to get along. And the reason is to protect tyranny from overwhelming every American. Big government, big bureaucracy, bloated spending. Bipartisanship just adds to that. It wasn't designed. The system was designed to make it difficult and hard to get anything passed. And that's the way it should have been. Because they knew what was coming. And what do we have now? We've got this big economic hemorrhoid right in the middle of our sphincter that we pay for locally, statewide, countrywide. There's no end to it. And you people hurt. We all hurt from it. We don't have our money. We give it to them. They did a new poll that came out today. It says, yes, we're divided, but this poll shows Americans still agree on most core American values. 9 out of 10 adults said the right to vote, the right to equal protection under the law, and the right to privacy are very important to the U.S.'s identity as a nation. Former President Trump doesn't have equal protection under the law.
No, he does not.
He doesn't get his day in courts. He doesn't get testimony. He doesn't get witnesses. He doesn't get a defense. Nothing. They put him in front of rogue judges. Now, the Bidens are getting tons of protection under the law. Tons of it. The findings are striking because they come at a time of extreme partisanship when political agreements seem rare. That's right. And that's great for America.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be that way. See, they've brainwashed them. They've brainwashed everybody. They brainwashed people, you folks that are listening right now. People were saying, well, you're an idiot. You're stupid. These guys got to get along and stop fighting and start to... No, they don't. That's more tyranny on you. Those are higher taxes for you, higher prices, more mandates, more rules, more EPA, more Department of Energy, more Department of Education, taking away your school choice, your independence, your freedom of speech, all the rights that are guaranteed, all being eliminated by bipartisanship. Bipartisanship. Survey found 84% feel the same way about freedom of religion, which is interesting because we have about 40% of America now that are atheists. The results, which included perspectives on a number of different freedoms, have only small variances, except the right to bear arms. Republicans are more likely to see that as a core to our nation's identity. University of Chicago political science professor said if you get a bunch of normal people at random, put them in a room together and chat about issues, there's a lot more similarity than you might imagine. Only 3 in 10 Americans believe the nation's democracy right now is functioning well. About half said the U.S. is a poorly functioning democracy. 14% said the U.S. is not a democracy. And those are the 14% that are right. But all the newbies coming into the system, the new voters, the under 30, they don't know that we're not a democracy.
Mark your calendar for some great events coming to the Roadside Event Center next to the Blue Cat Bar and Grill in Huntley. Join them for dinner and music Saturday, April 6th with Man and Tan and Mississippi Pot Roast. Tickets are $30 and available at the Blue Cat Bar. On April 12th, don't miss Kellen Smith and the Nate Champion Band. Live music continues with Clay Halos on Saturday, April 19th. Remember their amazing prime rib on Fridays and loaded Bloody Marys on the weekends. The Blue Cat Bar and Grill, just 9 miles east of the Metra exit.
We're a republic. You can't have a true democracy. Self-destruct a nation. Because with a strict, straight democracy means popular vote wins, no matter what the issue. That way, you run a bill in Chicago. We just made it that the state of Chicago needs to pay everybody a wage of $150,000 a year and let them vote on it. What the hell do you think they're going to vote? You can't do things like that. We're a republic. The founders were so smart when they did that. Otherwise, states like Montana and us and others, we'd be left bearing the brunt of democracy for all the other larger metropolis areas. Right. I mean, it's a great system. Most Americans said they're pretty moderate, but they've been riled up to hate people of the other party from being different from them culturally, racially, and religiously. That's true. By the way, folks, don't forget, racism is a two-way street.
Yes, it is.
Or a three-way or a four-way street, depending on how. It's not just one way that the liberal media likes to present it in order to gain a voting block. And most people in America are not. That's the thing. They're not. 3/4 of U.S. adults agree that a democratically elected government is extremely or very important. 8 out of 10 think the same about the ability of people living in the U.S. to get good jobs and achieve the American dream. But what achieving the dream means and what the values are, that's where it's different. Democrats are more likely than Republicans on a 71 to 38 percentage rate to believe the ability to come to the U.S. from elsewhere in the world to escape violence and find economic opportunities core to the country's identity. A majority of Republicans, 58%, think a culture grounded in Christian values is essential, but only 18% of Democrats. That's because the way they were raised and educated. The Constitution was founded on Christian principles. They don't teach that anymore. And by the way, I would venture to say that 85% of Republicans, maybe even higher, all believe in immigration available to people who want to do it legally.
I'd agree with that.
You assimilate to the language, you assimilate to our culture, you understand our rules of our nation, you become a citizen, you pay taxes, welcome to America.
Exactly.
You run in through the borders, you get a voting card, a cell phone, a stipend, a home. No, because they're paying for it. But see, they didn't put that in the survey question. They just said immigration. There's a difference between legal and illegal. Every day or every year we see those pictures in the Gazette of our ceremony where they become naturalized citizens.
Right.
These people speak English. They're so glad they've done it well. Juan Sierra, 51, a naturalized citizen whose family immigrated from the Dominican, said it's very important for him that the U.S. is to be seen as a place of opportunity. And he's right. And he is a naturalized citizen.
Right. Okay.
He became a citizen the right way. Poll found few divisions on democracy as a system in theory, but it identified one notable gap. Younger Americans, oh, here you go. between the ages of 18 and 29, I just said that, less than 30, I've always said that, are less likely than older folks in the U.S. to have confidence in a well-functioning democracy. These kids are being taught.
Right.
They're also less likely than older Americans to believe that some characteristics are essential to the United States character as a nation, including having a democratically elected government. 6 in 10 of these younger adults think it's somewhat important compared to 9 out of 10 of the older ones. Pajal Singh, a 21-year-old college student in Fresno, California, said he had a better quality of life when Donald Trump was president and said the U.S. is now not a well-functioning democracy like we had. There is not good communication, he said. Here we go, folks. 21-year-old. Nobody is sitting together trying to get things done. See, that's what they're brought up to believe. You have to work together, be bipartisan, and just pass one thing after another. Make government bigger. Grow our agencies. More tax dollars. Pass it out here, pass it out. We need all of you to work together and keep doling it out. That's not how the system was supposed to work,
right.
But that's what they're taught. Folks, what do you think that people in America, especially the left and unions, why do you think they are so against school choice? School choice. I mean, all these kids are all worried about freedoms, but school choice, that's a big one. And that's one that they do not want to happen.
Well, and there's another one. You work for us. We should have school choice if we want.
And the reason is because if there isn't, they can control the narrative. They control the education. They control what these young 18 to 29-year-olds are leaving school. They control what they're taught. They've molded their minds. They don't want to give that power up. They're all for freedoms in the survey, but they don't want to give you the freedom to educate your child the way that you think your child should be educated, because that's the future for them. Joe Legel's 55. He's from Colorado Springs. Said the nation's rights are all important, but he believes they're being eroded by intolerance and well-meaning but short-sighted people. Rights are being eroded, folks, by whom? By government. They're the ones taking your rights away. Here's a kid, graduated as an engineer down in North Carolina now, said everything's being run by a handful of people and their corporation. That's not a democracy. Corporation, there you go. There's another kid that's been taught that corporations are bad. Capitalism is awful. So what I tell you about the 4 C's.
Yeah.
Christianity, that's in the survey. He's a Democrat, and he said, hey, look at even North Carolina. Biden was the only candidate on the ballot. He said, that's frustrating. We had no choice. And this is our fault because we voted for all these people that have done nothing but expand government and the tyranny over the American citizen, where our system worked well. Individualism, things like that enabled you to become anything you wanted. And now there's so many folks, you can't even drive the car you want to drive. You can't even have a light bulb. Such an overbearing, overwhelming power government that has just taken away freedoms from people. And it all comes from them wanting to work together. I don't want one thing, not one thing that other party wants. If they want it, you know it's in their favor. It works both ways. Same with the Republicans. It works in their favor. How many laws do we need? How many news programs do we need, folks? Think about it.
We pass new ones every year.
Think about it. How many new laws? You know how many thousands and thousands and thousands of rules, regulations, and laws that we have? How many? And we pass new ones every year. Dozens of them. New fees, new spending. Every year, a new program. Everything. We don't need any of that. None of it. Zero. You know what Americans need? They need their freedom, and they need the 3 things that God guarantees to everybody: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That'll get you a good job, hard work. It'll get you a home, ownership, raise a family. That's what we need. We don't need laws. We don't need laws on the types of things you buy.
Mark your calendar for some great events coming to the Roadside Event Center next to the Blue Cat Bar and Grill in Huntley. Join them for dinner and music Saturday, April 6th with Man and Tan and Mississippi Pot Roast. Tickets are $30 and available at the Blue Cat Bar. On April 12th, don't miss Kellen Smith Smith and the Nate Champion Band. Live music continues with Clay Halos on Saturday, April 19th. Remember their amazing prime rib on Fridays and loaded Bloody Marys on the weekends. The Blue Cat Bar and Grill, just 9 miles east of the Metra exit.
Sure, we need safety rules and things of that sort, but now we're making laws on add-on fees and all kinds of things that people, well, just eliminate them. No laws to legal. You just can't add a bill to somebody like this stupid ass property tax thing because you know why, folks? Because we got a law that says if they decide they want to increase your taxes by $200, Mark, they just did it.
Yes, they did.
What bipartisan asshole did that? Huh? Well, so what did that do to the average American? What does that do to the average household? You see, folks, they've expanded and grown this so big, so out of control. That's not the way that the system was meant to work. Hell, radio. We got more damn laws now and rules and regulations that we have to go through and do. I mean, it's crazy. Crazy. Orson Welles never had to deal with that. But now, folks, we have an agency. Don't we, Mark?
Yes, we do.
We have a government agency that takes care of all that. Don't forget what I told you yesterday, folks. Every month since Joe Biden's been president, we have added a city the size of Bozeman in government workers to the payroll every month. What? Every month. Last month, 57,000 new government workers were hired. That's the size of Bozeman. And we're adding a Bozeman of government workers every month. Is that good for American citizens?
No.
It's not. So when you get your property tax bills and you get these increases and these fees and regulatory commissions and this and that, and your power bill goes up because the Department of Energy, a government, is mandating you got to have 50% of your power by windmill and by solar or we're going to charge you. So these guys got to build all these things, and the only way they can make it is to stick a higher bill up your rectum. Government has done that. Government. That's why I get on my little four-wheeler. I take my little guitar out there under the pine tree, Mark, and I just sing my songs.
Well, that's how you keep it going.
That's how Mark plays golf.
Yeah, well, I might be changing that.
You're better off singing.
I'm a better singer than
You are.
a golfer. First news coming up, 6:11.
The Breakfast Flakes podcast brought to you by the Blue Cat Bar and Grill, next to the Roadside Event Center in Huntley. The Blue Cat, it's where it's at.